Hello. Hey there, beautiful awakened one. I'm Monica Bermudez. Welcome either on my YouTube channel or on my podcast. As I'm recording this episode that it's all about the year-end review, I found myself that every year, the last month of the year, as we're stepping into a new year, that I've, been reviewing a lot of my accomplishments, but also the things that I still need to work on. And with that, setting intentions for the new year to come and how that would impact not only my life, but also those around me as well. And the areas where I can continue to improve even more so. And I feel though that in this year in particular for 2023, that it feels like it's a very much a completing cycle. And I realized, that all Decembers are really meant for that. But for some reason, like the energies for this month feels like it is something that we're really evaluating in a much more deeper level, like really getting serious about this. And the things that we tolerate, don't tolerate anymore in our life. And what is it that we plan to take with us? It's almost like moving into this whole new energy body, right? And the same would apply, right? If you were to move to a whole new location, like a whole town, a whole city, a whole state, a whole country. And as you're packing all that stuff, right? What are the things that you plan to take with you? And what are the things that you plan to leave behind that either you're going to trash or donate or recycle, right? And so those are the things that you will just leave behind. And as you're stepping into a new territory that has a whole new energy and a whole new frequency to it. And so that's really what it feels like for this month. It feels like we're moving into this whole new light body. And so as we're receiving more frequencies of energies for this new earth, we're gaining much more of a lighter body. And a lighter body would mean not taking any of those patterns, right, that have been toxic or have been around for a while, that have been playing in the background as a broken record. And so these are the areas to really evaluate. And so this year would give a clue as to one of those, what those patterns will look like, and what has been repeating in your life constantly is something that would mean that it is a pattern when it just keeps showing up like a broken record. And it keeps showing up, so that you find peace with it, or you find a solution for it to move on to a next level. And that's how it will dissolve and transmute to be into something new. So I find that there's been a lot more increase of generational patterns, and that is through the family lineage and ancestral. And I feel it more so in this month in particular, because there's just been a huge rise and acceleration. And I feel like in families and family dynamics, and this is also, with our own star family as well, and our soul connections with others, that in families in particular, in the family dynamics, there is so much more of it because you're much more closer to that family in particular. And so it is a very bit of a delicate area, right? Because most of the times in December, when we're all in different holidays, that usually requires being around certain family and friends. And friends, you connect with as family as well. And so in a family dynamic that, that you're blood related to, they can often trigger you like in so many ways. And trigger is a word that I use for activation. So in a way, it's accelerating your growth, your spiritual growth, and mastering your emotions and the things that are coming up for you, and noticing those patterns and how it is that it's making you feel in that moment. If it's making you feel yucky, then those are the areas to really pay attention and determine what it is that you want to tolerate right now, what you no longer tolerate, and have the patience for it anymore, because it could mean that you're complete with that cycle. And so you don't have to stick around for that anymore if it's already been overcooked or overboiled. It just means that it's time to move on to a different cycle. So looking at the areas in my life for this year that I found myself accomplishing. So let's start with those areas, right? We're going to do a little bit of journaling. So if you have your journal, pay attention to some of these, questions that you can ask yourself for, as an example. So the big things that I've accomplished, and just going to share mine just to start, kick it off, is that this year I launched my podcast, which is what I have right now. I'm so excited about it. And I love so much doing all these recordings and these different episodes and sharing all these deep wisdom of inner wisdom, intuitive messages and channeled messages that I receive for all of you and for us, because I'm also receiving this information as well. And a lot of what I share is things that I apply in my life as well, and that I am constantly evaluating, or at least trying to. So I am, still playing the role as human with all of you. And at the same time, being in this process of ascension and awakening that many of you are as well. And so many of you who are starseeds, I'm a very, very big starseed. I do feel that I had many lifetimes on this earth as different humans in different roles, but I also feel like between those human lifetimes that I spent time in somewhere either in the other ether or other worlds before I came back again. I do feel that I must have gone and lived in a star system before I incarnated into this life, because growing up, it took me a long time to learn to be a human. I often didn't feel like a human growing up. I actually felt like I was a robot without emotions. But it was a really interesting, but this is all part of the experience, right? It's us being here in this physical body. We're learning, we're infiltrating the whole system, the matrix that is, the world of illusions, to learn how to master ourselves and be able to navigate and play the game of the matrix itself. And one of those is through the financial system and the whole, way of how we manage ourselves through the material world of this physical realm and the games that are in place in the moment, and how we can influence as well the outcome of a lot of the physical reality that we live in. And that is part of us, gaining that knowledge and that wisdom and that experience is by being a human in a world of duality where you have the shadow and you have the light. And that is the whole point. You have, it's about mastering that balance. If you're able to master your balance within as a human form, then you've achieved the ascended mastery and the whole awakening process behind it of enlightenment. So really, we're living with such an unprecedented amount of energy, because we are at the Kali Yuga of the Kali Yuga, which is like the last cycle and the most permanent cycle of this, human evolution, of this great ascension and this great awakening. Because what that's doing is that it's expanding our consciousness even more so. So anyways, I must have gone off into this whole other path, but I was just sharing how excited I am about doing a lot of the different recordings and episodes and having launched my podcast this year. And so that's been one of my biggest accomplishments, and having connected with such beautiful new, souls through the networks of my entrepreneur business and the whole spiritual side. This has, been my passion for some time. And also the fact that I moved from a city that I've been living there for my whole life. And I feel like I was returning home, actually, because now I'm living in the city of Mount Shasta. And to me, this feels more like it's home. It's almost like I was temporary in my other area where I used to live, and I was just there to complete certain cycles, because it does feel like I completed cycles for that area and for the ones who I connected with in that moment. And I share some more insight. Actually, one of the episodes of my podcast that I recorded is about Mount Shasta and Tellus. If you haven't heard it yet, check it out. But that was a big transition for me this year. And so that are the biggest, accomplishments that I'm taking with me. And I feel like for 2024 is going to be even more. 2024 equals to 8. And 8 is all about the expansion of our abundance and prosperity in all aspects of our life. So as you have your journal, you can get it whenever you get a chance. Ask yourself your question: what have you accomplished for this year? And take a note of those accomplishments, and how do they make you feel? Do you like, I'm sure, these are things to celebrate, but also things to be so grateful about as well. And so take a note and feel into those accomplishments, and how do they make you feel in this moment. And so the more that you're able to tune in, is that it will also attract more of the celebration and this abundance in your life as well. Because as you are, writing them, acknowledging them, and putting gratitude into them, you're also receiving that gratitude, abundance activation. So, some of the things that I have been evaluating now that I'm looking at things as a lesson learned, because this year of 2023, it equals to 7, is all about our spiritual evolution path. So what that means is more areas for us to grow spiritually. And how do we grow more spiritually? Is by learning to master certain aspects of our duality. Like, for instance, having to deal with a lot more of certain patterns within ourselves at a subconscious level. And I would say like the majority would be ancestral generational than it would be of past lives, and karmic lives. And so really looking at those areas that need the most reform, transformational, alchemical type energy of, dissolution. So I know for me, one of the biggest areas for me that I've been battling this year the most has been a lot of the ancestral generational. And so that is the one area that the patterns and the toxic patterns of the ones that has kind of resurfaced are the ones that I don't care to take with me. So I rather dissolve and just clear, delete, and erase those patterns. And of course, if you resonate with that, join me with that as well. And that mini ritual that we just did right now. So ask yourself, as you pull out your journal as well, and ask yourself the question: what are the areas in your life that you're so done with, that you just don't plan to take with you in 2024? Because remember, we're jumping into a year that is really expansive energy. And I feel like, for these portals, which is like December 12th, and it's also a new moon energy of Sagittarius. So it's going to be the 12/12 portal, as well as, new moon and Sagittarius are going to be very potent combination of energies. So those are the times to really pull out your journal and ask yourself these questions, right, that we're talking about right now, and the things that you're done with, so that you can clear the space and create a bigger space for manifesting your heart's desires, manifesting more of the things that you want to celebrate, that you want to feel accomplished, and that you are excited about, that you're passionate about, that you feel will not only impact your life and change it in so many ways, but impact the lives of others around you. And this could be your family, this could be, your own community, however it is that you feel within your own heart. So there is, so much for this year that, we look back, and I feel like there was a lot of, on the collective side, a lot of changes on the spiritual side for so many. as you know, we are in this great awakening for others to also wake up within their soul and remember that they're also star seeds. There's still so many that are still sleeping or sleeping star seeds. So, you know, these are the more that we do within ourselves, it's also helping the collective in this way, because of the quantum field and the interconnection that we have with one another at the soul level and the soul aspect. It's more of this, you know, unity consciousness, because the more that we expand with Christ consciousness, or, you know, consciousness expansion, the more that we are also uniting at a conscious level as well. We already are interconnected in that way, but as we continue to expand more of our own consciousness, the more aware that we become of this, and the more that we ascend and accelerate into these dimensional higher frequencies of energy and higher densities in within ourselves, higher density of energy, that is, on the spiritual side of things. So I hope that this message brings you so much joy and practical aspect in your life as you evaluate this year and step into 2024. And I'll be connecting with you in another episode. So I am sending you so much love. Bye for now.